Warning, MF Uncensored contains adult language and discussion. Listener discretion is advised.
We're a couple of misfits. We're a couple of misfits. What's the matter with misfits? That's where we fit in. We're not Duffy and Dilly. Don't go around willy-nilly. Seems to us kind of silly that we don't...
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to MF Uncensored. Don't forget, if you guys are listening to us on the go, you can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and basically anywhere you guys get your podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Paul. I am just doing the intro for you guys today. Today we had an awesome interview with the host of the Random Kristian Show, Mr. Kristian Madsen. Kristian was an awesome guy. He was a lot of fun to chat with, a lot of fun to kind of just laugh with. He and I really hit it off, and we basically spent about an hour just giggling and laughing and just enjoying talking to each other. So I really think you guys are going to enjoy the episode. A lot of that really shows when we're chatting just how much chemistry and how much fun we had with each other. But before we get started, just a couple of things. Don't forget to check out our brand new Misfit Faction store on our website, themisfitfaction.com. There you'll find links to all of our brand new items, including t-shirts for all of our shows, a brand new hoodie that Ronnie created just for MF Uncensored, and of course shirts for any occasion, basically. So also make sure if you guys are on our website, you check out some of our reviews. We have Rob, who's reviewing Moon Knight right now. A couple of articles from yours truly there, so make sure you guys check them out and be gentle. I'm not a writer, but I tried my best, and that's really all that matters. Also, don't forget, if you guys are looking to start your very own podcast, maybe you guys have been listening to us, maybe you guys just feel like you would be really good at it, make sure you guys let us know. Reach out to us. And if you guys use the code podbean.com/misfitfaction, you'll get 1 month of free podcasting as a thank you from us. Also, if you guys have your own business or something that you provide, online service, anything like that, advertising is a really big part of owning any sort of business. So if you guys are looking to advertise, not just on our podcast, but any podcast, if you guys go to sponsorship.podbean.com/misfitfaction, you'll get $100 worth of free advertising as a gift from us. And also, I cannot start an episode without talking about Raise Energy. Guys, we've been doing Raise Energy here forever. Literally, I'm packing for a trip down to Myrtle Beach, and I have 5 Raise t-shirts and 5 different cans that I'm bringing with me. So we are big fans of it. If you guys are looking to try it out, maybe you need a little extra pick-me-up during the day, or you're trying to get through that tough workout. I know I do every morning at 4 a.m. Check out repsports.com. That's REPP sports.com, and use the code Misfit89 at checkout, and you guys will get 20% off as a thank you from us. And without further ado, on with the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to MF Uncensored. If you guys are listening to us on the go, you can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and basically anywhere you get your podcasts. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Paul, and I am excited. And the reason I'm excited is because I have a guest that's not in the studio, but is kind of in the studio, because that's how you do podcast interviews now. Via Zoom, I have Kristian Madsen. Kristian, how are you today?
I'm zooming, baby. How you doing?
Living the dream, sir, man. Like, you came in with such high energy. It almost caught me off guard. Usually I'm pretty good with that. But Kristian, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Like, this has been long in the making. I want to say over the past month, we tried to make this happen like 3 times. And finally, we were just like, we got this. We can do this. We believe in ourselves. And here we are.
Yeah, dude. I know. And, you know, like we were kind of talking a little bit before, life happens. And I mean, that's one thing that podcasters, at least good ones, get to. I mean, we've got to deal with it all the time because we are working off other people's schedules, yet working with our schedules. And there's got to be so much give and take. And I hate guys that are just like, listen, this is the only way this is going to happen. And it's like, really? Okay, well, I guess it's not that important. And please go on somebody else's show. I've been very fortunate. A lot of people are very understanding because I try to be very consistent with the way I do my show. I try to either do it Tuesdays or Thursdays. So you either start the weekend or the week off with me, or you start the weekend with me. So,
I mean, either way, it works.
Right. Because I always say, you know, Tuesdays, basically you call in sick Monday. You start the weekend or the week Tuesday, you really ignore Wednesday. Thursday's really the start of the weekend. So then you just call off sick Thursday. And
it works out.
Really, yeah.
Now you have
unemployment survives. And it's awesome.
Now you have a show called the Random Kristian Show, which I have been doing a little bit of listening to, which is, you know, just fun for me. It's always fun as a podcaster to listen to other podcasters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because nowadays podcasting is a very competitive industry. It is a very like,
Oh, yeah.
I'll listen to you if you listen to me. And I found myself really deep in the rabbit hole of, especially on Facebook, like podcasting groups where it's just like, I'll sub for you if you sub for me, but send me a screenshot that you did it. And like, it's always fun to get like just another podcaster just on the show just to talk about their stuff. And you do your podcast a little bit differently than ours. We have a very good advantage where we pre-record everything. Everything is pre-recorded. Like this episode, we're recording in January 28th to be exact, and it'll probably come out sometime in the beginning of March, just because that's just how our production works. And we've been very.
I could be dead. This could be from the heavens above. Oh.
Is there anything you want to tell your future self then? If you are not, if you're not dead.
Let's see. 15, 9, 12, 83, and 1 billion. Okay, no,
that's perfect. I mean, I hope your future self understands.
I won't. That's all right though. I had several years of alcohol and drug abuse, so there's all sorts of weird things that happened in my life, and I'm kind of glad I was drunk or really high for them. So
why don't you tell our listeners then a little bit about your show?
Okay. Well, it's a live stream show actually. So I don't edit. I don't give myself that cushion. I'm a former radio jock. I did stand-up comedy and improv for a while and was mildly successful, but I got tired of radio. So a few years back, somebody was like, "You should do this, blah, blah, blah." Anyway, in fact, my ex-partner actually, before podcasting was really big, started podcasting and was like begging me to go buy all this equipment and stuff and start doing it with him. I was like, dude, I can't afford it, and I'm just kind of done with the whole thing. It was a great run, whatever. We had fun. And he's really big. But anyway, and I'm not going to name his name because he's a jack off for not talking to me about it. Anyway, no, he did. And no, it's Mike Bauer. And it's just called The Bauer Show. And he just does a lot of sports stuff now, but great guy, great show. We had a lot of fun. So yeah, it's live, it's raw. What you hear is exactly what's happening. There's nothing cut out. And if you listen to like my last show that I just did, I got a new computer and I was all excited and all ready to go. And it kept screwing up because I never did the whole updating thing. You start a new computer, you have to do all these updates and stuff. So there was like delays all over the place. And I had this great comic. His name's Bob Levy. And he used to be on the Howard Stern show and things like that. Yeah. And dude, we were just having a blast. And it was so funny because he reminded me of why I started doing this in the first place. Because I don't know if you've ever done this yet. Do you get like caught in like just a groove and you just kind of keep sticking with it? Now, you said you do a few different styles of shows,
right?
But which, I mean, that's cool because you don't get such a mundane. I really kind of fell into I started off random. Really, that's how it was. I just kind of started coming on and experimenting and ranting and just having some fun and being goofy. I did a whole episode where I talked like Bill Clinton and I pretended to be the president of the United States of America. It was hot and sexy all at the same time. Sexy because I play the saxophone. Yeah. Oh no, I got that right here. Hold on.
Oh, there it is.
That's a drum roll.
I was about to say.
Oh well.
He's got the fun soundboard over there.
Yeah. So there we go. Sorry, dude.
No, it's fine.
I'll stop.
No, I love it. This is great because the same thing about our show. Our show is the whole point of our show was to be uncensored and to be just off the cuff. And the problem that I found, I would listen to interviews, and I never did interviews. Interviews were never my thing because you can listen to interviews and they're very robotic. They are very here's my question, here's your answer. A lot of it is pre-done, like they know the questions that they're gonna get. I do a little pre-interview, but that's pretty much it. And it's just more tell me about what you do and let's get to it, because those robotic interviews are just a drag.
Yeah. And it's easy for anybody to do that. You can sit there and read a list of questions, which I kind of fell into a rut. Like I said, I started off being very random. That's why I called it the Random Kristian Show. Then I had a buddy of mine that used to help me out, jokes and stuff back in the day, contact me, and he was like, "Is this, Anyway, so we kind of reunited. So I got him. He's actually my director of the show. He's the little man in my ear during the show. And another guy that is a podcaster that I interviewed, kind of like, we're doing here. His name's Andy, and he's got a show called Rum and Regret. But we were having such a great time. He started and I have a chat board. You can do live chat with me on the show. So yeah, and it goes out like on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, all these different live streaming sites that you can go on. So people can live time, talk with whoever's on the show with me or us, however you want to do it, or just, tell us to kiss off and stuff like that. So I got him, and I just asked Matt, I'm like, dude, should we just bring Andy on the show and see if he wants to join in? So yeah, now he's my co-host. So he's kind of like my Ed McMahon, as you will. I'm the Johnny Carson of the show, and he's my color commentator. That's the best way to describe it. And so we've just found a really great rhythm and a really great, but we really got kind of stuck in it because I hired this publicist, Stephen Joyner, and he was getting us these great talent and stuff. But I was really kind of falling back into this when I was in radio. They'd say, stick to this format. Like you said, you get in an interview rut, and the great thing about my show back then was I never did that. I would never, he's like, my program director would, what are you going to do today? I don't know. Well, you've got to have some kind of idea. What, do you have some bits? Yeah, I've been playing around with some stuff. I got some things on what they're called carts back into the day. They're little like 8-track cassette things. Anyway, it's all digital now.
No, I couldn't help myself. I know what an 8-track is, but
okay.
I couldn't help myself.
Well, hey, there's a lot of people who don't. So.
Oh God, remember CDs? Those were a big thing for a while. Now you got kids that are like, oh, I only get things on vinyl. I'm like, wait, what? We're going backwards. Yeah. How'd this happen?
And I always tell them, I'm like, I nostalgically, yeah, records were great, but wait till you get that one scratch in that favorite song.
Done.
And it's just anyway,
that sounds like my podcast when I edit it.
Bumps. Well, I got to get a rim shot on here.
Yeah, you'll find it eventually. Don't worry.
You're like, shut up.
No, I love it.
So yeah, like I said, this last show that we did with Bob Levy, he came on and he's like, so man, how do you want to do this? And I always told people, I'm like, listen, it's all about you. So we're just going to promote you. We do some fun stuff in the beginning, just me and Andy or whatever. And, we do some fake news, things like that. And now we've developed a top 12 list that we've been having a lot of fun with, which is usually pertains to the host or the host's field that they're in or whatever. So yeah, with Bob Levy, it was top 12 reasons why I'm not a comedian. And so me and Andy went back and forth which was great. It was a lot of fun. But Bob was in the beginning. He's like, listen, man, he's like, don't ask me questions about Stern anymore. And I mean, I had a few little just quick questions listed off, but with comedians especially, I have a very good rhythm and timing with them, so I wasn't really going to do anything like that. And I said, listen, man, that's awesome. I'm glad you don't want me to ask a set of questions or anything. He's like, no, fuck it, wing it. And I just went, Bob, I love you. And he just looked at me and he just starts laughing. And I'm like, dude, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. So we just came on, and like I said, I had some techno problems, and he was laughing along with us, and we were just having a great, and dude, we just rolled. And it was like one of the best interviews I've had in a long time. And it was just free. It was like all of a sudden the Phoenix rose from the ashes again. I was like, that's right. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
It's funny you say that, because I was on a show last night. I was interviewed on another show, and they brought up the idea of, because we have a lot of hosts in our network. We have 3 shows. Each show has a different set of hosts. I'm on all 3 because I'm sadistic like that, and it's just so full of myself, I guess. Like, I can only be, it's mostly because all the equipment's at my house and my friends don't have a choice. But
you're a sick bastard, Rocky.
Solid reference. Solid. Nope, solid. I'm gonna love it. But so, like, we were talking, like, a podcast is only as good as the consistency, the knowledge, and the rapport between the hosts.
Right.
You got two people in a room that don't really click or have chemistry. It shows, especially in an audio only podcast. Like you could see it, you could feel it. So it's awesome that you say that, because I do believe you and I had the same pleasure of interviewing a Mr. Larry Hankin.
Oh, yes. Oh, Larry was awesome. Oh, my God. We had so much fun with him.
It's funny because I'm going to piggyback off what you just said about your interview with Bob. So when we talked to Larry, obviously there's the easy questions. Tell us about Friends. Tell us about Billy Madison. He was just such a gentleman and just so compassionate. And he was like, oh yeah, Adam Sandler was such a jack off camera. And we're like, we laughed.
Yeah.
But we got him we asked him a question about how he creates his own characters. Like, what does he do in his character creation? And he went on a 10-15 minute tirade about Annie. Of all of his films, the film Annie. And he told us this great story about he was a dog catcher in Annie, and he fought with the costume designer about the look of the costume.
Yeah.
And
dude,
it's that sort of thing where it's like, man, you can't write down a question and an answer like that. That is just like such a fun and unique story. And that's the point.
Yes. And that's it. And see, when we had him on, I kind of, I did kind of the same thing. Like I said, we had some reference points, but like, he's like, don't ask me about this because, everybody, I'm like, yeah, dude, but I'm going to graze over it. I said, because it's part of your history. It's part of who you are. I want my listeners to get a feel for you.
Absolutely.
He's like, all right. And so and we all love Escape from Alcatraz. Well, and we're from the Bay Area. So, and he was in the committee and all that. So we, tapped in on that. And dude, he went off on being on Alcatraz and stuff. And dude, we heard all these cool stories, like how, in between sets, he was going down underneath Alcatraz, underneath the prison. And there's all these like caves where these people lived for a while it was shut down and stuff. And dude, oh man. And just some of the stuff in between sets with him and Clint. And it was just, it was awesome. And that's exactly, like you said, that's exactly what you want. You just kind of graze into something and let them roll.
Right.
And let them be them and be the beauty of what they do, because especially Hankin, he is such a great storyteller.
He really is.
And I mean, he paints the picture, and I love his passion, because he doesn't even really like the acting part. He loves the whole process of it.
Yeah.
The directing and the lighting, and I mean, he's so into it. And he said that's what he really would do. He off to the side, he would sit there and study the different directors. And I was just like, dude, that is so awesome, because I'm a tech guy like that. I'll sit there and like, I'm the guy who looks on the back, like we were just saying, on the back of an album, and I'll look who produced it, who engineered it, who recorded where and did what.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And,
a lot of people put in all that work, and like, it's nice to get recognition for them. I was staying in movie credits before Marvel made it popular to stay for the movie credits.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But
because there's always that something.
And now we expect that something. But I still say, like, post-credit scenes, not to go off on a weird tangent, but it's my show, so I get to do that. Like, post-credit scenes are nothing new, but Marvel revolutionized them. And now it is nice. Like, we'll be sitting there and we'll be reading, like, especially you do like a movie that's shot on location somewhere. You're reading all these really cool facts and like just interesting people. Like what movie did we just see where they actually had somebody in there that was like COVID safety officer? I'm like, well, that's new. I didn't know we were there where we had to have somebody that would go on the set and be like, look around. There's no COVID here. We're good. Yep, dead serious. I don't remember what we were watching, but it specifically said in the back, like in the credits, COVID safety specialist. I think it was.
So basically, did they put in parentheses afterwards, big asshole?
Yeah. Hey,
you're not wearing a mask. You're not. Hey. 5.5 feet, a little further.
Well, that was Tom Cruise when all this started. Like when they first went back into production, famous. And don't get me wrong, like I get it. They don't want to get, especially back then when they first started back up. But like now at this point,
everybody was freaking living in a bubble. Yeah.
Yeah. But so speaking of movies, I am informed, and this is by you, that you are, well, obviously a big movie fan, but you are also a big comic book fan. And I wish I had known that before I started talking to you. Because
I'm old school comic. I don't really follow as much as I back in the day. I had milk cartons full of carded. My prized possession was a Spider-Man 500. Oh, dude. Yeah, when he first meets Venom.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. And I let that go for I don't even, now let's not even go there because, yeah.
So I'll tell you my prize then, because I still have it. It's the Incredible Hulk first appearance of Wolverine.
Oh,
I just happened. I got a box of comics from a family, like a family friend, and that little gem was in there.
Oh, I gotta tell the guys on my show about that. They're gonna flip out.
You know what? So the next time you and I speak, because I have a feeling already there's going to be a follow-up, because I was not prepared with Marvel and DC questions, because I would have rocked your world and you would have never forgotten.
We'll have to get at least Andy on.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
We'll bring Andy on too.
But we're in the process of decorating our studio, because you could tell by my exceptionally barren white walls behind me. And one of the things I want to do is I want to put it on display. It's in like not so good condition because it was in a box in somebody's attic for a long time. But man, like to have something like that, just dude, badass.
Those are the best though. I'm sorry. The pristine ones are great because they're pristine. But the ones that you look through and the age of them, those are the ones I really loved. And they're like, oh, that one, $2. I'm like, yeah. And, I don't mind because they probably got it for free.
Right.
But I'm getting it because when you open it up and you look through and you're seeing like somebody will have like a little piece of something in there from a bubblegum wrapper or what. I used to find old Bazooka Joe bubblegum wrappers with the comics on them. I used to find those in comic books and stuff all the time. I'd be like, oh my God, it's so cool. And you start going through what somebody was, doing. It's like buying a used book. I love going used book shopping. I'm not a great reader. I used to be, but I just don't have time anymore. Oh, yeah. So, but I still love finding a good used book that I want, and flipping through it. And all of a sudden, like you'll see a bookmark from way back when, or there's a little slip of paper with something, like a note. And you're just like, what were they doing?
There's a story to it. It's somebody, there's history to it. Like you said, I can go to like a Comic-Con and walk by like the comic book displays where they have, like, here's Spider-Man, with the first appearance of the Punisher next to the first appearance of Wolverine and, the first appearance of Darkseid, all those famous comic books. And they're in their case and they're pristine and they're beautiful. Yeah. But there's something about having that weathered feel in your hands. Like that history, that's also, it's not just a story, it's somebody else's story too. Yeah. So and
they rolled it up, tucked it in their back pocket, and were riding their bike around with it.
Oh, I was guilty of that as a kid, man. Oh, I had a comic book that I weathered to death. It was Superman versus Spider-Man. Because back in the, I want to say it was the late 80s, they did, Marvel and DC, they used to play nice. They used to play very nice with comic books. So they did a series of Marvel versus DC. I didn't know they
had a Spider-Man. Oh.
So 2 comics, Spider-Man versus Superman, Batman versus the Hulk. And it was predetermined who would win. So like every time Marvel and DC did their crossovers, they would determine who was going to win.
Right.
For these 2 issues, DC was the winner in them. So I remember as a kid reading these over and over and over and over again. Like
the story's not changing. Well, this is the Hulk.
It does have my favorite Superman line of all time. He goes to like punch Spider-Man, like just lay him out. But then he realizes that if he punches him like as hard as he can, he's going to actually kill him. So he goes, it's like a thought bubble and it says, "Great Krypton." So I used to, as a kid, say "Great Krypton" instead of like, "Oh my God," it would be "Great Krypton." Like 1950s sports announcer. But yeah, and
Great Krypton, Batman.
And Batman beat the Hulk with a sleeping grenade, and then he kicked him in the stomach so he'd inhale it. It was the weirdest thing ever. But yeah, like look him up. You can find pictures of him.
So he didn't really defeat the Hulk. He just knocked him out.
Yep, and he turned back into Bruce Banner. So
gotcha. Okay. Because I was like,
yeah,
Hulk could swallow an atom bomb and still live. So,
and that's one of my favorite things about comics, man. Like the things that they've gotten away with in comics, just as much as I love a good Marvel movie or a good DC movie, There are some
Right.
things you'll never see translated to the screen because that's what comic books are. They are the art form that's been around since 1938.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh, just the whole comic, idea.
Mm-hmm.
The first political cartoons and stuff like that, way back in the old papers and stuff. Oh man, I always wanted to be a comic artist, and actually as a kid drew my own comic strip for a while. And yeah, just something. I got it in my school paper for a little bit, and then
Was
I
it
like, "Nah."
was it like a political thing? Was it a series? What was it?
It was kind of a takeoff on Doonesbury, but geared more towards a younger crowd and not very political. It was just kind of socially, kids being social and stuff, and
Gotcha.
the awkwardness of school and being a teenager and stuff.
It doesn't get
And
much. Now we're just awkward adults doing podcasts.
yeah, just a 15-year-old boy in a 56-year-old body. Yeah.
But you know what? It translates well. And, this is the time where that thing is celebrated. Like you were mentioning your friend who did podcasts years ago. Podcasting is
Right.
very different than it's much more mainstream now. Like,
Oh, dude.
we saw the new Ghostbusters movie. I don't know if you saw it.
Not yet.
There's a character in the new Ghostbusters movie that's called Podcast. And guess what? Guess what his thing is? He has a podcast.
Oh, imagine that.
What are the odds? Like that is high caliber writing. But like
Highly creative.
podcasting's now in the lexicon. It's people know about them, and it's so interesting because podcasting is now a full-time job.
It really is, and yeah, we were alluding to this earlier. I mean, it's one thing to do your show, like we're doing. We record it, and then you go back and edit and whatever. I just throw my stuff out. I'm like, yeah, screw it. If I suck, I suck. But again, I just love the rawness of that. And I'm a radio guy. The thing, I don't know. I'm gonna say things weird, and I don't want to.
You got this.
Since 3.
You got this. I believe in you.
Thank God for editing. Oh my God.
Oh, I don't. My editing is very limited on this show. Exceptional.
Sweet.
I just take out a lot of the spacing, and that's about it.
Okay.
Well, especially with Zoom, there are times where I have I ask a question and it's like dot 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 dot, and then the answer.
Oh no.
Oh, so sometimes we just did an interview earlier today, and the interview was great, but I'd ask the question and there'd be like a 4 or 5 second delay, then the answer.
Oh, dude. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, but yeah, we do our show. And you do some you've got to be constantly self-promoting, especially nowadays, because everybody and their mom is doing a podcast.
Right.
When I started it, when I started mine just a few years ago, it was really starting to hit. Hey, and then the pandemic, which everybody got locked in, and they used it as therapy. Which, hey, that's great. Vent into a microphone.
Mm-hmm.
Don't vent on your neighbor. Don't vent while you're out driving. Don't, go on a march just ranting and raving. Just sit in a booth, sit in your closet and rant and rave to whoever you think is going to listen.
Exactly.
That's awesome. And great. Good. You just saved yourself $250 an hour on a therapy. But when you do it we're doing a show, not just somebody sitting here going, why I hate this, and
right.
Grumpy old man syndrome, which is one of my favorite characters, and drives my buddy Matt insane whenever I do it. Yeah, whenever he starts getting on my nerves on the earpiece, I just fall back into grumpy old man. Back in my day, we didn't have podcasts. We just walked around screaming and yelling at things till our lungs fell out of our mouths. We'd be like, oh no, there's our lungs all over the floor. Now I can't breathe. Probably gonna die soon. I'll die right here, and you just walk right over. Yeah.
I'm so glad that most of this is going to be audio only, because so people don't see me just losing my shit over here. Because this is, I've interviewed some incredible people on my show, really just truly incredible, great stories, great careers, great history. But I very rarely lose my shit while I'm doing a podcast, and you know what? I'm grateful for it. It's something different. And people can tell it's genuine, it's legitimate. But yeah, so going back, talking about podcasting and just you do have to do so much work outside of just the actual show. Like
You've got to, every social media page, you've got to be pumping something out, and which is kind of fun because like, especially with TikTok now, I say, hey, do you want to send this to Instagram? And, well, yeah, sure.
Oh, it makes so much easier.
You're saving me a step. And there's apps that you can buy. And that's the thing too. Like I have not invested that much money. Like I said, I started doing voiceover again, and then somebody mentioned doing podcasts, but because, as you've heard, I've got many voices in my head. So I do voice acting, and that's how I started. And actually the podcast is taking over. I hardly do any voice acting anymore right now. I just auditioned for an animated movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to tell me which one?
It's called Clutch, a Kobold Story. It'll be a 6-episode. It's kind of wizards and dragons kind of thing. They call it a drama, but it's more comedy than anything. And so I've auditioned to do 3 different characters on there.
Great.
And so yeah, no, it'll be a lot of fun if I get it. But and those are the kinds of things I love doing. I mean, I can do your professional voice for cereal or whatever. I do all those kinds of things. But the podcast has taken over so much of it, trying to get a hold of guests, trying to promote, and then just even after you promote yourself, you got to promote your promotions,
right?
And it's just a constant battle. And then you've got your life, and all of us don't get paid for this. Believe it or not, it's not a well-paying job. In fact, it pays nothing, and you spend a lot of money on it.
Absolutely. We pay for our services. We do our website where we have other things. We have 1 or 2 sponsors that are just great and just really helpful. And that's always the goal. We have Steve, who's our publicist and just just a good guy and has helped our show grow. It is possible to be a full-time podcaster, but everybody wants to be like a Joe Rogan or somebody like that, where they're making $60,000 a month just podcasting. Yeah. And unfortunately, like it's when the market got super saturated from podcasting, and like you nailed it, like COVID made everybody need to want to find things to do and outlets and express themselves. And unfortunately, podcasting is the idea of podcasting super easy. Like, I'll get a microphone. Oh, yeah. I'll get a microphone. I'll just talk. Our first episode is one of our roughest episodes ever. It's our highest downloaded episode of all time.
No kidding.
Yeah, because people were excited to hear it, and then they probably heard it, and they were like, "What the hell?" Because we had
well, this was a mistake.
We spent like $50 on like a Blue Yeti microphone, like one of those snowball microphones. Yeah, and we're sitting in this gigantic room, no soundboards, no nothing, and it's just so you'd see I'd ask my friend a question, and he'd pick up the microphone, talk into it, and then put it back down. And just it sounded like we were driving through a tunnel screaming to each other.
Oh my gosh, but see, dude, it was fun though, wasn't it?
It was a blast. And now here we are, 3 shows, website, sponsors, talking to people like you. Like it is worth it. And I always tell people, if you want to start a podcast, that's great. Just it's an addictive and it's also a time-consuming endeavor.
Right. And that's And the thing is, you've got to really do. I started really getting sucked into it, where I was like constantly on my phone doing promotions and stuff. And my wife, I'm recently remarried, and we're going on our 3rd year. And she just turned to me one day and she's like, I'm just going to go to bed because I don't see you. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm right here. What are you talking? She's like, you are so absorbed in this, And I had the same problem with the voice acting. I had to dial off my time because I get stuck in the studio trying to be a perfectionist, which is really a big problem for me with production stuff. You wouldn't be able to tell it from my other shows though. So, I'd be sitting there and, doing all my promoting, and I'm like, listen, I'm just 5 more minutes, and I'd be, or I'd have my iPad or whatever. And I wasn't there. I was there, but I wasn't there, you know? And I just went, okay, yeah, you're right. So, I mean, I set up, I broke it down where I have my little time that I do it. And, she understands now because she sees my show is starting to really take off.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like you, I've got a couple of sponsors. It doesn't pay much. In fact, it's probably just going to pay for
production,
my fees, and all the services I use, things like that, which are all coming up here in the next month. But yeah, you really have to balance yourself, and you, like you said, you work double shifts sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And we have actual jobs that we work, so people don't always get that. They're like, oh, well, why can't you just do it? It's not that easy, And fortunately, like I said, I have a background in radio. I was 10 plus years in radio, and I worked my way up from the ground up. And it was also back when I was drinking, so I learned how to be half asleep like this, or just sick as a dog. Be tired. I gotta get this ready, and then all of a sudden hear the end of the song. Okay, 98.9 Magic FM. It's me, KJ, hanging out with you. And then as soon as the song's over, oh God, I gotta go back and get this. I gotta use the restroom soon. Yeah. And then all right, well, we're back into the music.
Like I wake up at 4:00 every morning, and that's as part of my job, and. Then it's right now it's 6:44 my time. I've been up for 14 hours. I worked 8 of those. It's tough. Yeah, I see you got your coffee. But
I started 3, so I know.
Oh God, but I miss sleep. But it's the same thing. My wife has a book page. She does a page on Instagram it's book reviews. It's positive affirmations, stuff like that. It is so time she got into it super hard right before we really started we were doing podcasting, and then we took a really long hiatus, and she was doing the book page, and I was like, man, I'm getting the itch again. I want to, I miss doing all that stuff. But we found ourselves just constantly, she's on her phone posting about, what book she's reading, doing book clubs, doing Instagram lives. And I'm, writing down scripts, I'm doing show notes, I'm putting things on the website. So now we dedicate Saturdays are just for us, and we try if I have any interviews, they're done in the morning, and then Saturday night is just for us. So I get it, man. It's time consuming, and it's tough, and you guys do all your stuff live, and live in radio, live means problems and technical issues, but you got to keep moving. You just got to trudge through it. So a lot of respect.
I learned a lot of that through doing improv comedy.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of, it was one of the things that, especially the improv troupe I worked with, they were older, more seasoned, and I was this young kid just in radio. Well, young, I say young, I was 25. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to, I've done a little bit of stand up, and they're like, well, yeah, come on, we think you'd be great. And I would go in and I would start just feeding off the audience.
Right.
The improv troops, even though they say they're improv, they have
outlines and general ideas.
An outline that they try to work with. I'm the guy always breaking the fourth wall, and I'm involving the audience, and I'm it's like, whose line is it anyway? Mm-hmm. I'm always jumping out and grabbing people or doing something, and it drove them nuts, but people loved it. And that's what you're there for. And this is one thing, people in podcasting have to remember too. And if you're starting a podcast and you're listening to this, one thing to remember, people want to be entertained. They want to be entertained or informed, one or the other. And if you are not doing that, and you're just sitting there bitching about something or laughing at something you only think is funny, it's not going to happen. And you may get 1 or 2 people listening to you. And if that's, it's your thing, whatever, that's great. But I'm going to tell you, you're out here to entertain. You're out here to inform. You have fun with it. Yes. But don't sit here and get stuck. And like I admitted, I fell into an interview rut where I was reading, and it was like, and it was just dumb. And if you want to hear the difference, listen to my interview with Bob Levy, which just is actually, I'm actually dropping the podcast audio right after this.
Oh, awesome.
And then listen to mine with Carl Gottlieb. Talk about a guy who did not want to be there.
Oh, Carl, yes.
And have you interviewed him?
I have not interviewed him, but I have emailed with him, and just from the emails alone, I was like, oh, all right.
Dude, he's super nice guy, but he's just, I'm not sure if he just doesn't like doing interviews anymore, but does them because it's part of what he needs to be doing. And because, we had some good interaction, but it was just like business.
Right.
I felt like I was in a business meeting, and we got some laughs out of him and stuff, but it was just like, there was one point where he was like actually getting upset. He's like, "You think this is fun? You think my job is fun? You think this is just a big joke?" And I'm like, "No, we're not saying that at all. But there's got to be, I mean, working with some of these actors has to be a little fun sometimes. I mean, I know it's not all just work. You have some interaction with these people and have a good time. Listen, as a director, you've got to do this. You've got to do this. I was like, okay. Sorry, Mr. Gottlieb.
I'll just put your book down because I don't think you're going to sign it.
I'm going to go over here and get some popcorn. No, but super nice guy, really. And he did give us, a lot of information about his movies and stuff. And see, I didn't even focus on Jaws, really, which he calls the fish movie.
The fish movie, yeah. Yep.
I focus more on The Jerk because it's like one of my all-time favorite movies. And
Solid.
I love Steve Martin, and which I think he enjoyed. I didn't ask him a bunch of Jaws questions and stuff. So, but, and then we went into some of his other stuff. But yeah, so if you want to hear the difference between a great podcast and, well, what I say is a great podcast and really not so good podcast, Carl Gottlieb, Bob Levy.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, when Bob said, just fucking wing it, man, I was like, dude, I said, I want to crawl through this mic and make out with you right now. And just, whoa, buddy, whoa. And, see, I had a lot of friends from the East Coast when I was growing up. So I was very used to, I lived with like 4 guys from New Jersey. I lived with 3 brothers from Boston. I had a couple of friends in high school from Long Island, New York. So I was very accustomed and very comfortable with the back East. There's a mentality,
right,
from back East and Midwest and Southern and West Coast,
Oh, yeah.
Because they were selling back out in Cali, brah. It's awesome.
For the record, I would like to point out that even though I was raised in New York and I live in New York, I was born in San Francisco. Fun fact.
Oh, well done.
So I can say dude with complete conviction, and I do carry my dude card around just in case. If I'm ever questioned about my dude status, it's still there.
Right on.
But yeah, so I get it too. Like New York, and everybody's got their own flavor, and you can tell right away. Yeah. It's not something you can ever hide.
No, dude. And yeah, seriously. And it's so funny if I get around like people like last night when I was talking with Bob. He's from Jersey,
Oh, Jersey.
And so I start hanging and I started talking like this, and it was so funny because when I'd come home from school, I was at college with the New Jersey brothers. Or not the brothers. I called them the brothers, but there were 4 guys from New Jersey that all went to the same school I did. And we all had this house that we rented. Anyway, I'd come home on break and be like, "Yo, Ma, what's up?" And she's like, "I'm sorry.
Would you like to repeat yourself?"
Oh, sorry, mother. She'd just be, and my mom's from Arkansas. So, if I pissed her off, it'd be like, "Listen, boy, let me tell you something right now." And like I said, she'd clench her teeth and her lips would move very shortly. But, "Oh, you get that twang in her and you better move and get your ass over here right now." And
it's that angry ventriloquist look.
Oh, dude.
Terrifying.
No, it was like, "Yeah, Mom, sorry, Mama."
There are different levels of terrifying parental figure. Like, it's the angry ventriloquist. It's the Italian mom with the wooden spoon. She'll never hit you with it, but she's got it, and you watch it. And then there's always dad who's like, "Do I have to take off my belt?" And I'm like, "No, your pants will fall down. Please don't."
Yeah, no. I'll be traumatized. I get it. The mental image is right there. Oh, God, please don't, please. And I've got a Polaroid of it anyway, Dad. See ya.
Just out the door. Well, you know what, Kristian, we're running a little low on time because I do owe my wife dinner.
I'm sorry.
No,
dude.
man, no. It's like, this has been fantastic. But so you have your show, The Random Kristian Show, available wherever I can get podcasts?
Anywhere, yeah. Good Pods, Apple, all the main players. I really push Good Pods. I love that platform. I think it's a great platform. And then, like I said, every Tuesdays or Thursdays, mostly Tuesdays, 4 p.m. Central, we're live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, and I got rid of Daily Motion because Daily Motion was.
Yeah, I haven't heard good things about Daily Motion.
Yeah, it sounded really cool, so I invested some time on it and ran the show through it, but I got I mean, there's really not much going on there. I'm not sure how it's surviving.
We're looking into Twitch. We just opened up our account, so hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll see.
It's pretty cool. And like I said, during the live stream, you can not only just watch and you can get involved.
And that's really
open
cool.
up a chat and you can talk with the people or us and ask questions or just give commentary. We welcome it all. So please check us out. Go to the randomkristianshow.com and you can find out all the information you need.
Now, speaking of fan interaction, I do believe you told me that you have a raffle coming up.
Yes, actually we do. And this goes back into our comic book nerdiness. We've got Tom Rash. He is a DC comic and Marvel. He works for both sides. Yeah, he's a switch hitter. Okay, I'll stop right there. He's a great guy. He drew for Batman. He drew Iron Man, Wolverine. He has Black Alpha. Have you heard of Black Alpha?
I've heard of it. Yes, I have not read any of it yet.
That's all him. That
really?
is his complete thing. Yeah. I think it's on Dark Horse. Is that?
I want to say Dark. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some research.
That's a comic book chain, right?
Yep, Dark Horse is one of the. It's like a DC offshoot almost, like Vertigo.
Right, but yeah, so he's got that, and I think it's the Black Alpha character that they're making a movie of.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't quote me on that because he was being kind of tight-lipped about it. He's like, I can't really talk a whole lot about it.
All right.
But he kind of alluded that way. So I think we're going to get that information on the show when he's on March 1st. But yes, if you go to the Random Kristian Show, and it's Christian with a K, by the way. If you go to the randomkristianshow.com /raffle, if you put every $3 you donate into there through PayPal, you will get a shot at being a guest host and get signed artwork from Tom Rash as well. And like I said, you have to be available on Tuesdays at 4. Or no, he's going to be on at 5. I screwed up. I got to go fix a promotion.
Shenanigans. Uh-oh. Well, fun fact, you'll probably see a submission from us because that is the coolest thing. And
yeah, dude, I was so stoked to get him. And dude, talking to him just on the phone, we started nerding out about Iron Man and stuff. And he's like, listen, I got to go. He's my age. He's 56, but he just had a baby, like his first kid ever. So yeah, he's like super dad right now. And he's like, man, I got to go. And I'm like, dude, totally. I got 4 daughters, so I get it. Don't worry. But yeah, so March 1st is when it happens. So you can go in anytime, therandomkristianshow.com /raffle and put in every $3 gets you a shot at winning the guest host spot and signed artwork from Tom Rash.
All right. So important question then. How many raffles do I have to buy to get you back on my show for another interview?
100 billion trillion quadrillion
yen.
Oh, just a whole bunch. Okay. All right.
No, seriously, Kristian, like I'm not even like blowing smoke, but this was fantastic. I don't think I've ever laughed so hard during a podcast. And unfortunately,
we've just started.
Oh, I'm psyched because we have other co-hosts that I know. Oh man, if we had our co-host Rob here with us today, you two, I wouldn't even be talking. Like it'd be the two of you going, and I'd just be, I'm gonna press the record button. Okay, bye. I'll be over here.
I'll be over here. Okay.
I brought snacks tonight. Yep, I'm good.
Yeah.
But that is going to wrap us up with Kristian, the Random Kristian Show. Make sure you guys check it out, therandomkristianshow.com. Get in on that raffle. I'm sure, you can compete with me because now I want some signed artwork and I just want to get Kristian's attention now because, man, this was great. Thank you so much for taking the time out to talk with me tonight.
Hey, man, thank you for having me on. And yeah, we'll definitely do it again. Everybody be good to each other, please. That's the main message of everything. Have fun. Enjoy each other. Take care of each other.
I love it, man.
Peace.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye. Man, I'm really upset that I did this interview by myself. That was the coolest guy. Like, you guys could hear it. I have never giggled so much during a podcast, and I've giggled through a lot of podcasts. But Kristian was super great, super generous. We definitely worked hard to connect and make this happen and make it a thing. So I really want to thank him for definitely getting on the show and just making me laugh and just, after a long day of work, this is what it's all about. Podcasting has been such an outlet for me personally and something that I enjoy so much. So Thank you to Kristian, the randomkristianshow.com. Make sure you guys check him out. If you want more of our content, you can check out themisfitfaction.com, or you can find us on Facebook, Misfit Faction. Multiverse Fancast is our other show. Cinematic Adventures is our third show. You can find all of that stuff on our website, including news, reviews, articles, all sorts of fun content, and hopefully more. We have a lot of things planned. This episode is being recorded at the end of January. We'll see it in the next couple of weeks, so who knows? We might even have some of our big projects already announced and up and running, so I don't want to say anything too much right now. But thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I'm Paul. I'm one of your hosts, and I will see you guys next time.